The Wright family, Father John, Mother Sarah, and their 2 children, Amy and Tom, set off for a winter vacation in the mountains. However, a sudden snowstorm forced them to leave the main road. The windshield of their old SUV fogged up, and John, nervously gripping the steering wheel, turned onto a narrow road, hoping to find shelter. After a few kilometers, they came across a massive building rising above the snowy forest like a ghostly castle. It was the old St. James Asylum, abandoned for more than a decade. Exhausted and frozen, they decided to wait out the storm inside. Entering through the broken doors, they felt an oppressive atmosphere. The cold corridors were shrouded in darkness, and the air was heavy with dust and mold. Sarah lit a flashlight, and they moved deeper into the hospital, trying to find some warmth. John locked the door behind them, hoping it would keep the snow and wind from breaking in. They settled in a former doctor's room where some old furniture remained. Sarah found a few blankets that provided a bit of warmth. The children, scared and exhausted, quickly fell asleep, but John and Sarah couldn't feel at ease. Suddenly, there was a noise in the corridor. Sarah, trembling, got up and shone the flashlight into the darkness. She saw the silhouette of a woman who quickly disappeared around the corner. "It's probably just the wind," Sarah tried to reassure herself, but John was already standing next to her, gripping a metal rod he had found among the debris. They stepped into the corridor, carefully inspecting the area. Suddenly, the door behind them slammed shut with a loud bang. Sarah and John froze when they heard a whisper coming from the end of the corridor. It was a childlike voice repeating one word: "Play." Suddenly, the ceiling lamps flickered on, though the building was not supposed to have electricity. The light was dim and flickering, as if the building itself was coming to life. John and Sarah saw pictures of patients on the walls. Their distorted faces showed grimaces of pain and despair. In one of the rooms, they came across an old journal. Sarah began to read it, and the pages revealed the horrifying history of the hospital. It turned out that the doctors had conducted experiments on the patients, leading to their painful deaths. The most terrifying part was that some of these patients had disappeared without a trace, and their souls, as rumors said, still wandered the hospital. Suddenly, their children, Amy and Tom, woke up in terror. They claimed to have seen a woman who called them by name and invited them to play. It was the same woman Sarah had seen. Deciding they had to leave immediately, John and Sarah hurried back to the entrance, dragging the children with them. But the door they had closed was now firmly barred. Amid the eerie silence that followed, the whisper returned, but this time the voices were more numerous and louder. They surrounded the family from all sides. Amy screamed, pointing at the door of one of the offices that was slowly opening. Inside stood a figure of a woman in a white hospital gown, her eyes glowing red. She reached out to the children, and John rushed forward, trying to protect them. The woman vanished, only to reappear on the other side. Facing the ghosts of the past, the family felt reality crumbling around them. John remembered the back exit mentioned in the journal. With their last ounce of strength, they dashed toward it, making their way through the dimly lit corridors. In the backyard, the storm had subsided, and stars shone in the sky. But when they finally reached the doors, they were met with silence. Looking back, John and Sarah saw the hospital once again plunged into darkness, and no sound came from within. They stepped out into the cold air, holding hands, grateful to be alive. But in the eyes of Tom and Amy, the terror they had experienced was something they would never forget. The family walked into the night, leaving behind the old asylum that had once again fallen into its eerie slumber. But something told them that those who remained inside would always be watching them, even from beyond the world of the living.